In this tutorial we're going to look at adding reverb to your levels. So this is defining the different types of space that the player is in by the way that the sound reflects around that area and adds a reverb tail to the sounds that you put in it. Now reverbs are built using this builder brush object, which you can turn on and off using the keyboard key B. And this is actually the same object that you use to create any kind of level geometry. But in this case we're going to use it to create volumes. Now we want this hanger here to have a different sound inside to the drier sound when the player is outside. So we're going to take that builder brush and we're going to go to the resize widget and resize it. It's slightly longer than it is wide, so we're going to use the non-uniform scaling mode to stretch it just in that dimension at the moment. Move it across a bit so it broadly encompasses our hanger. Okay, now we right click on the volume and we're going to choose reverb volume, and now if we hide the builder brush we've got a yellow reverb volume there. We can go into its properties, we can assign one of the available reverbs and say what volume we want it to be heard at. I'm just going to overdo it a bit for illustration at the moment, and how long it takes to take effect when the player walks into that space. So now we should hear that when the player's outside the hanger we've got very dry sounds, and when they go inside they're entering the reverb volume. We have reverb. Marvelous. Now you'll want to define the spaces in your level as having different kind of reverb characteristics depending on if they're small tunnels or large areas like that. You can also nest smaller rooms within larger rooms, so you can use the priority setting of the reverbs to put one room inside another reverb volume. The book goes through that in greater detail. The other thing that reverb volumes are used for is to overcome the occlusion issue. Now, you might remember us talking about how your ambient sound simples, you need to be careful of how they go across walls, because UDK doesn't have a built-in occlusion system, so it doesn't know where walls are in terms of how they might affect the sound. But what we can do is we can use reverb volumes, and particularly the ambient zone settings of a reverb volume. So if I open it up, its properties again, you can see that's not a reverb volume. You can see we've got this other bunch of settings here called ambient zone settings, and this will allow us to define rooms, and so the sounds might be different whether I'm inside the room or outside, and it might be occluded. In other words, if I'm talking like that and then I put my hand in front of my mouth, you can hear how it filters the sound, as would a wall or a sheet of cardboard or plastic or anything like that. It would have a filtering effect on the sound itself. So in order to hear that, let's put a couple of sounds in. We'll just go for a mechanical type sound inside the let's put that inside the hanger, and then outside let's just have a more natural kind of ambience. So what we want is so that the player, when they're outside, yeah, we can hear all the insects and things going on. When we walk inside the hanger, what we'd expect is some kind of change of that outside sound, for it to go down in volume or be filtered a little bit. And likewise, the hanger sound, when we go outside, we'd expect that to change as well, because these hanger walls are in the way. I know there's a big door, but just imagine that there's a smaller door. So there is our reverb volume, and we can go here and we can say, okay, when you are inside the ambient zone, in other words, the area that's defined by the reverb volume, the sounds that are outside it are going to be quite a bit quieter. And that's going to happen fairly quickly. And also the sounds that are outside are going to be filtered quite a bit. Likewise, when we go outside of the reverb volume, any sound that's coming from inside it, in other words, in this case the hanger room tone, that is also going to get quieter because we're now outside, and that is also going to be filtered quite significantly. Okay, there's a diagram in the book that probably makes a bit more sense than what I'm saying now, but hopefully you'll be able to hear that take effect. So I'm outside. Now you can hear that the sounds outside have been lowered in volume and filtered. As I come out, you can hear it kind of opening up again. Now you can be, if this was a wall, you can be quite extreme in those settings. So you can say, well, you know, there's a wall in the way here, so although my min-max goes across that wall, because it's within that ambient zone, when I go, let me get this right, so the exterior volume is the insects outside when I'm inside. So when I go inside, actually, you don't hear those insects at all, because maybe I go inside and I shut the door. You can have dynamic ambient zones, so you can do that literally, that the player might shut the door and then this ambient zone takes effect. Again, there's an example in the tutorial level of that, but this is just to show you that you can literally completely occlude the sound when you go in. Okay, so it's unrealistic in this example, but inside a building there you've got thick walls, it might cut off sounds like that. So that's really going to make your level start to feel a lot more realistic, the use of ambient zones and the use of reverb volumes.